Whew. Whew. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, you probably, as you noticed, the coats is off, the shawls is off.
Yeah, it's warming up.
It's getting warm out here. So, spring is breaking. And so, I consider it to be like a compliment to being in line with how the scripture says to align your times because it was cold while it was cold.
Yes.
Now, here in a couple of days, right? Just a couple more days, right after the Shabbat on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
is the first day, and it's going to be pretty nice and toasty. You know, it hasn't cooled back down. There's no snaps,
Right.
so it's going to be pretty good. We're getting ready to go into. I think there's a small rainy season. And then the Hamseen, it gets real hot.
Yes, yes. And as you see, it's not a long winter.
Right. Winter is not long.
Right.
It's not long. The seasons are a little different here.
That's why you need to be here.
You
To keep
know?
up with the seasons and the times.
So, I got a test, right? This is a small test. I want you to know what people's true fears are,
Mm.
right? If you go and ask an Israelite to buy land over here in the Middle East, they don't want to do it. They can see no profitability in it. If you go and you ask them to come and begin to reorganize in the government, they're afraid they won't do it. So they're afraid of this law exactly. If you tell them we're going to go live exactly according to this law and do the things in it, they're afraid.
Wow.
So the entirety of the time and the reason why this process is taking so long is because through living in religion and in an alternative government system, they have been trying to find a way to abolish this law and this covenant.
Hmm.
Do you know what the word abolish means? It means to do away
Wait, wait.
with, to find another way, and to be the people in another form. And that's why you have these Jewish people today. Because again, they are providing and showing you on display that if the Most High wanted you to be called the people of the book, but live in an alternative system, they're better at it than you. You see, the Jewish people today are in league with all of Europe and the United States. They are together. All of Europe and the United States support these Khazarians, who, ironically enough, are indigenously Ukrainians. Right?
Yeah.
So when you have these people and they're supported by the United States, these are all the same people. People don't support you when you're not the same. Right?
That's right.
So you have in the Eastern system where we are, when you have in the Eastern system, you buy a land, you organize, you govern your people, whatever is appointed to you, you do.
Yes.
Right? And you have in the Western system this rock solid monarchy. We got elections. The president is not running the country. There is a governing body behind him. He is just the one you choose to receive the instructions from. You get to pick him. There is a governing body behind him. The same thing in Europe, England, and all of the other kingdoms. Because if you don't know, UK is United Kingdoms. There's more than one kingdom there,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right? And so all of these kingdoms, nations, they have an elected official, which they call the prime minister or the president. And this elected official is who the people will follow, but they go along with the same agenda. And my people, black people, that's what they like to be called, niggas in America, they all believe, that being under your own governance is a bad thing. And there's a reason. There is a reason, which doesn't make it an excuse. It's because all black leaders that were allowed to come to prominence have all been corrupted. So when we talked about upright leadership yesterday, there has not been any.
Correct.
Not Malcolm X, not Martin Luther King, not Farrakhan, not Elijah Muhammad, not anyone.
Right.
And you say, what are you talking about? Because the end goal of proper leadership is the end of captivity. All right. The end of being in this enslaved state to have our own country. Now, proper leadership tells you exactly how to do it, goes to the place and begins to do it, and then the people can slowly underground railroad themselves in. Right?
Yes.
So this is the way it's supposed to be. Is it being done? No. Not at all.
Haven't been done.
Right. Everybody keeps trying to get them to be accepted and established in the place where they are. And the entire purpose of everything that we have went through as a people was to make us not want to be among them, to make us want to have our own country, our own nation, to worship our God in our way, the way it was instructed to us. Right? Now, in all truth and honesty, the truth is we have not had this full instruction as well.
Right.
So the majority of people are really just sheeps. Right? They are looking for a leader. They are looking for a shepherd. So the majority is sheeps. Right? But right now, the dogs are leading the sheep. There still is no shepherd. So they continue to do the same things. They just kind of stay in the same areas. So what do you hope to accomplish with your reading, Rabbi Sheikh? What is the point of this if you don't expect us to come out? See, I have to talk and ask logical questions because you lack the logic and the reasoning to do so. Because I haven't taught you reasoning yet. You know how to think. You can think, but that doesn't mean you've
Not a reason.
you understood the law of reasoning. Reasoning works, and I'll give you a brief synopsis. Reasoning works once you are given a set outcome for an event and an action, then you can sit down and reason. Okay? Until the outcome is real, you're only postulating. You're just propagating up stuff, right? So when you talk about the Exodus account, the Exodus is real. It is widely accepted and feared, but nobody has seen anything like it until, recent days. It was confusing in that time when they saw it. It is confusing again now.
Right.
Right? Pharaoh didn't understand what the situation was while he was going through it, hence the flip flopping on issues. So everybody's asking, where's this God? When I say there's no mystical sky, nigga, coming to save anybody, I literally mean that. And it's going to break a lot of your hearts. So why are you telling us this if you don't expect us to come? This is literally the proof of your wickedness. You won't come, you won't give, and you won't obey, which is why you are dying. This is the truth. So now, unlike any other leader that came before me, okay, I am doing the exact thing that we are told to do
Yes.
with detail. Oh, and there was people that came out before. Yes, yes. The people who did come out before came out with the same books that you have now and the same belief, and they ended up in the same situation in another country.
Yeah. And sold themselves to that country.
And they sold themselves to that country. Now, I went to that country and prospered greatly. I went to that place and did the thing that they didn't do without them.
Yep.
I went and I got a possession of land. As a matter of fact, I ended up getting 3. I went, I got a possession of land. I asked them would they want to join me and we can build and reorganize and get things back situated. And as usual, the wicked politicians who lead the group don't want to reorganize because there is much wealth that could be gained from their corruption.
Said, do as thou wilt mentality.
Again, they're accepting bribes and they're looking for the ways to get money. And then they're trying to figure out where is my power, my authority coming from that I'm able to do things that they were not. And how am I accepted in places that they cannot go? How do I have the ability to walk freely alone and be secured by strangers around me and they are not?
And then with something, when they get in trouble, they call
come
you.
me to come get them out of trouble.
And that's something. But they don't want to take the steps
to get the understanding.
Having the cake and eating it too.
Right?
Kind of mentality.
And it becomes a thing like I've recognized, right? Divination, if you believe that the words have power, that's divination. That's magic.
Wow.
Saying the words gives it power. That's witchcraft. You understand?
Yes.
Whereas our law teaches to seek the instruction and do the work of the instruction in preparation for what the instruction says is coming. There is a work. So you either have words or you have work. You have divination or you have merit, righteous deeds, acts. The righteous deeds, acts pays the bills. So what happens? In the day of trouble, everybody calls upon the name of the idol. The trouble does not cease.
Right.
The damage is done. And then they go back and say, well, those people who died didn't believe how I believe. Whereas in the real system, under the law with righteous merits, none die. None. It's totally different. Right? So now this reading to you is simply for you to hear because we're doing a calculated examination of the status of the world while we're reading and while we're teaching. It must continue in decline to be true.
And you know, Robert Sheik, what a lot of people don't really understand is that with divination, you will get results. It will work. That's why Yah instructs us to stay away from it.
Well, again, the results you get are not the
So,
results you want. Okay? My people are alive because of a law written into the whole earth that we're not allowed to be utterly wiped out. So it can only consume some at a time.
so that's why when it says it's not by our righteousness, but it's by Yah and His will, His
His word, his
word.
covenant. I promise not to utterly destroy them when they get into this situation, into this problem. So, you believing that the idol protected you, but these people didn't believe, is completely a delusion.
Yes, it is.
Because the results of righteous walking is none of them. None of them.
So,
So this is why we're reading this.
so pretty much what you're saying is we don't have this superpower that keeps us like the X-Men's and the Marvel comics and all this stuff. It got nothing to do with that.
nothing at all. Like we have no affiliation. There's no promise of it. There's no sighting of it. There's nothing. So this is where we are. This is the situation we are in. And I'm saying this because I really, I really want the people on the other side of the camera to understand. And all that get understanding. Okay? To reason with someone, you must understand what the other side is expressing. That means you must understand the definition of each and every word, what it is defined as. Then you must reason within oneself. And then from reasoning within oneself, respond with a proper alignment of questioning to draw out the conclusions. So that's what being circumspect is. Most people think being circumspect is something else. They don't even know the definition. So you have to have a line of questioning to draw out
Right.
the conclusions.
Right.
And, you know, one of the questions, right? And it should be the last question, right? So when you're asking the initial question, a proper reasoning and rationale is, well, according to what you're saying, what would be the benefits and what would be the initial steps in the process for us to prepare for such a thing. Now that we know what we need to do, what you're proposing we do, after we've gotten that, okay, then you ask, after you know everything that we need to do, okay, what happens should we fail? You never ever ask, and what happens if we don't do it?
So they're asking the failure question first instead of waiting to afterwards.
And now listen,
Wow.
instead of asking the what to do, how to do it, and how to implement it, and what we're going to get, going along in agreement with the instructions that are being read to you now. That is proper reasoning first. The next question is, what happens if we fail? Right? You're allowed to fail in an attempt. Right? You never ask, and what happens if we don't do it? Because the law, the instructions actually tells you that, and anybody who asks that question is a rebel and they do not intend on doing it. So when people ask questions, the first thing somebody asks is, well, what happens if we don't? That person is a rebel. To be honest with you, I've dealt with it in my training. Okay? So I've seen the people who ask, well, okay, if this is what we need to do, how do we begin? What's the first steps? And after we get this, what is the benefit to us? These people who ask that line of questioning are righteous. Okay? We are building a nation. Where do we begin? We're going to have to buy land. Okay, how are we going to raise the money to buy land? We're going to have to give from our jobs right now. We're going to begin to have to come out in stages, in waves. Okay? That's the only way you're going to come out. In good times or bad times, it's the only way you're going to get anywhere. You're not going to get there all at one time. That's a delusion. Okay? The children of Israel moved into the land a little bit at a time. No, you're lying, Ak. It was a great exodus. Listen, the great exodus, they had to migrate and walk around the land in circles from the Mediterranean. Well, they didn't actually get to the Mediterranean, but from the Red Sea to the Persian Gulf or the Arabian Gulf, the Arabian Sea. They did this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's 40 years. You see?
Yeah.
So they didn't get to the Mediterranean until with Joshua, they had to walk back in circles, circling around for 40 years. And they by the time they got back, they had been slowed because they kept losing people. Because once a tribe has actually learned that you're on their land portion, they settle in. Oh, I mean, everybody's here, but this mine. You know by right, and the person is right. It is this, but this slows you down because now he's weakening the force,
Right.
because he's not pushing for the whole. He was working to get his.
And not considering the others.
And he's not considering his brother, that his brother also have a right of redemption, and you have to work for your brother too. So this law tells you how to reorganize. It tells you who can and who can't. And, it's needed. And the thing is, it's not that people don't know how to do this, right? I mean, all the gangs have organizations, right? They consider themselves nations. They have large numbers and they are organized and they're doing whatever it is that they do. But they do have organization.
Yes, they do.
They have crime and punishment and how it works out, right? Every organization, okay? In this world, I'm telling you right now, there is only, okay? You know about the mafia at the bottom. There is mafia at the top. It's only families. It is a family ruled place. The whole world is just families. There are no citizens. There are no, all of this other stuff is a delusional lie. So I'm reading you this law so you will know, so you can know how to best prepare and get your mind together. We're going to come back with chapter 17. Okay, we're back. We're going to start with 17, and I hope you get something out of what I just said. I mean, that was 25 minutes of...
And before we start, you had said something in regards about how the Khazarians are of Ukraine. So if you're sitting there wondering why the country you live in is supporting the Ukraine and doing all this for their family.
Their family at the
They're
top.
doing for themselves something that you should be doing for you.
For you.
Doing for
your people.
For your people, for ourselves.
So you have to understand their family vision. Okay? Their family vision is very deep and very long. If you think I'm lying, you go to the Vatican. The Vatican traces its family roots back to the Nephilim. What? Before Adam, they traced their family roots back up through Cain and through Og from the fallen angels. You think I'm lying? Go look it up. Okay?
Sure did.
You can start with King Romulus and work your way up and down.
Yeah, that's the chart you showed.
You can go and look. And it's not me telling you, it's what they claim for themselves. Well, all of the presidents and every state, every country, the Vatican decides on the West who they appoint. However, in the East, it's by birthright and by blood right. And the regions are already assigned to us and my people. And the other people, they have what they've been doing. But again, it's by family. So if your family vision is just the people in your house, you have a very small, very weak family. If your family vision is your neighborhood, you have a slightly larger, a little bit stronger family. If your family vision is for a city, you have a pretty nice sized family. If it's for your state, now you're talking. Now you're talking. Okay? But if your family vision is for the entirety of your nation and its diversified peoples.
Wow.
Now, this is my people. This is who I'm talking to. So your mind may be too small. If you're looking to buy land in the country where you have been sold into slavery and think that it's going to be better because you moved in the same country a few miles over and you think it's going to be better there, or you have some chance of surviving what's coming over there, you're an utter fool. Because the instruction literally says,
yes, it does,
right, that Jerusalem has to come back here and they have to have survival over here. But you're not even thinking about you actually getting over here, you actually surviving.
And what's crazy is that we complain about them doing for their own, which they supposed to do for their own, And you're mad because they
Well,
won't help you. They ain't supposed to help you.
well, what they're actually upset about is the claim that everyone should be treated fair and equal. And then we as a people, we put up and do fair and equally, and then we don't get a fair share. And that's because it's a lie. Everybody, every country caters to its people on its land. So if you don't have your land, you'll never get equality, equal rights. You'll never have freedom. Freedom doesn't exist. There is only laws. There is only laws. If you are subject to this nation's law, every nation calls its law freedom. I am free to keep my law on my land. And this is my law, this is my culture, my customs and traditions. This is freedom. But if you wish to continue in your way, continue. I'm going to continue reading this law because you're going to get this.
Well, you know what I'm recognizing, Rabbi Sheikh? That ball of pure Laban's plan goes deeper than a restaurant and bar. It is
Any place.
any place.
Right. So it's any place where you are free to mix and mingle your bloodlines.
Eat
To
cheap
any
food.
place you able to eat cheap food, even abominable foods. It's any place. It's
Yeah.
any place.
And we're supposed to remember Laban's plan. I
But
mean,
they don't really read Micah
oh, yeah.
chapter 6. They don't read it.
Right,
They
right.
don't read it with any level of comprehension. They read the Old Testament to confirm the New Testament, and there is no New Testament. There is none. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, because he said his covenant that he made in the beginning is forever.
But again, they don't understand what forever is. If they're not reaping the benefits of it or living in it at the present moment, they don't understand why they're not in forever. But the forever comes after, in this generation, after the establishment, after the great fall. We fell. So now forever can come when we reestablish it. That's what was promised to Abraham.
Wow.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second. Let me. Oh, I'm trying to keep my computer awake. All right, let me keep the computer awoke. Chapter 17, verse 1. You shall not sacrifice before Yah, your Allah, a bullock or a lamb which has any blemish or evil in it. So if it have a tumor, okay, or if it have some type of cyst or infection or any uncleanness, this is not suit to be sacrificed before Yah, your Allah. Okay? Or which is torn or rent. Okay? So if it was attacked by an animal, you can't sacrifice it. Okay? It must not be torn, rent, or it can't, or say, if it was cut by something or no damage. That's the right. Not sick and no damage. That's it. Okay. Not sick and no damage. For that is abominable before Yah, your Allah. If there be found among you in one of your cities that Yah will give you, a man or woman, okay? So we're talking, this doesn't matter, no respect to persons, who does what is evil before Yah, your Allah, in transgressing his covenant. See?
Yes.
So this is talking about what I was talking about before. You have to be in your city. So you buy the city, you own the city. It's not a city where you're renting. It's not a city where you're living. It's a city where you own the land and you govern all of it. It's all private property. The whole thing is
Right.
private property. All right? And following after evil desires shall serve the idols of the Gentiles and worship them, or the sun, or the moon, or all the host of the heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you hear and make inquiry by witnesses fairly, and behold, if this be true and certain, that such abominations is wrought among you, then you shall bring forth that man or woman who has done this evil thing unto the gate of your house of judgment. So you have to have a house of judgment.
Yes, you do.
So you have to own the land. You have to be self-governed. You have to have a house of judgment. They have to have come in and learned the law, like I'm teaching right now, to come in.
Right.
Then once we get work in and once we start to get things going, you see them drift off. We bring them back to the house of judgment, and you shall stone them that they die. So they get killed and stoned on the property. And that's what we're going to do.
Right.
This is why they don't want to come.
I was just getting ready to say this is why they don't want to come.
If you have a mystical sky nigga in your imagination, you're going to get stoned.
You know, it's crazy because they say, oh, I ain't scared to die. I ain't scared to die. I ain't scared to death. But to come here and they don't do the instructions,
Then they don't want to die.
they don't want to die. That's why they want the Sky Negro. So
They could do what they want to do and
not
live.
face the consequences.
Which in other nations, you can do whatever that nation does and live for however long they keep you alive.
Right, because you're going to die.
They're going to kill you over there eventually, but that's fine. You there. Okay? So, upon the word of 2 or 3 witnesses, he shall die who is guilty of death. They shall not be put to death on the word of 1 witness. Okay? So there has to be a good long, this is life and death. There has to be a good long inquiry. How long is the inquiry? As long as necessary. It can take years. Your reason of inquiry is small. I have made inquiry of this instruction. I am in my 8th year. Right? I sought it. I walked it. I was tested in it, and I reaped its benefit. This is before I'm even presenting it to you. Okay? So this is how it works. It doesn't work any other way. The hand of the first witness shall be first upon him to kill him. So this is the process. So the one who reports it, and we make the investigation, and we the truth. Okay? Now, you forget, reports can be a simple slip of the lips. Nah, because we was reading the New Testament yesterday. You was what? You was what? Nah, because we was listening to the YouTube and they was talking about the mystical sky nigga the other day. So when you start making these type of inquiries to keep these beliefs going, when you get here, it's going to be a problem.
Yes, because you're told at the very beginning.
Do not inquire. You're coming out of this. You're focused on what to do. You have a to do and you have a don't do. You don't know this law. You don't know this custom, and you're still reassuring yourself with church. You know, church stuff. With church folk and them, camping them, so-and-so said and them. All right, this is what's going to happen. But this takes time. This is a ways off. Oh, so the hand of the first witness shall be upon him, and afterwards the hand of all or any of the people and so shall you bring down the evildoer among you. So the word is all, and that's all within the vicinity, all who are available. Why? We're not going to call the priest down to stop his priestly duty to deal with this judgment at this time. It's at the house of judgment, but the people who have pertinent work that need to be done, the work's still going on. We're just getting rid of the evildoer, and everybody's going to see. And know that it's not a game. If there be with you an extraordinary matter for judgment between unclean and clean blood, cases of life or of money, between a plague of leprosy or of the skull, with words of controversy in your bedin, then you shall arise and go up to the place which Yah, your Allah, will choose, and you shall come to the priest of the tribe of Levi and to the judge who will be in those days, and inquire of them, and they will show you the process of judgment. So, what is the Most High talking about? So, again, as myself, because the Lord is explaining it to you and trying to teach you, I'm going to unfold it. Okay? I'm going to unfold it to you. So the arrangement of the encampment is still the same. Okay? Judah is where Judah is, and Issachar and Zebulun and all the others. Everybody's kind of in the same kind of, will be in first a mixed space.
Right.
And then in their encampments.
Right.
Okay, so you have to go from mixed, because you're just accepting people, and then you sort later, and then one is to the east, one is to the north, one is to the south. You'll set your encampment. Once you have your encampment, well, before you have your encampment, the judge, the leader, the ruling head of the community always lives among the Levites. All right?
Yes, sir.
So when you're reorganizing, when Judah has an issue among Judah, and the head of Judah cannot, the head of Judah cannot solve the matter, is getting heated, and there's an argument, and then the matter comes up to the high priesthood. So there is a high court. There is the high Sanhedrin, and it comes up to the high priesthood, and the one appointed the king of the princes. Okay? The judge. And they will bring the matter up, and then we'll go through the process of judgment. So in this time it was Moses, and the time afterward it was Joshua. After Joshua, the judges thought they had it together, but they didn't. And then you get Gideon, but he didn't want to be king. So they got Saul, which is who the people chose. So they got Saul, and now that they chose Saul, they had to live out whatever happened with Saul. And then the Most High chose David because Saul wasn't going to do what was lawful and right. He was a respecter of persons. That was Saul's sin. So most people don't even know Saul's sin is he was a respecter of persons. He cared more for the people than for the law. Okay?
And you know, when you think about it in reading, is that not everybody was for David, not everybody.
No, I mean, popularity waxed and wanes, and it's David is not trying to be popular.
Right.
It's not his personality profile. Anybody who spends a large portion of their lives with sheep in contentment is going to be pretty introverted. They're going to be pretty to themselves. He's not caring about the popularity. He knows. Listen, the priest and the prophet came to my house, poured oil on my head, said I would be king. They taught me all of these laws and all these rules and all these customs and traditions and all these great stories. Then when we go to battle, these people scared. Like, I heard these stories. Why are we afraid? Just give me a rock. I'll show you. The same way I fight lions and bears, it's the same thing. Just go ahead and kill them and be done with it. Then he gets brought into the king's house, but you have to understand David's mentality at that moment is solidified that all I have to do is continue to follow the law and the instructions and the stories I have been told. That's why it's constantly written that David loved the law. He liked the reasoning. He had gained the understanding, whereas for other people, the reasoning and the understanding is kind of it's a distant thing for them. It's distant. They're more living in the day to day, and this is their reality. They're looking at the situation, and hey, it's reality. You could go out, it could be a problem. That's not David's reality. David's reality is the law. So he gets the things of it.
You know, it's as I sit and I think back when used to be in that circus. The life of David was so glamorized, and it's as though those of us had come out of the circus, still holding on to that image of glamour of David. So they're still looking for that imagination. And they cannot see David right before their eyes.
It's difficult, but they don't, like I said, it's because they don't understand something. Let's see what they're missing, because the law is an excellent teacher.
Wow.
Okay?
This is
The law is an excellent teacher. Let's take a look. Okay? So you're supposed to come to the house of judgment with the priest, there's the high priest, and the judge. And also it's not just a regular person. So the other judges is coming up to be judged. So this is the judge over the house, like Moses was the judge over the house. Okay? So Moses and Aaron, and this time it'll be you have Eleazar, Joshua, and Caleb in the next time, and it just keeps going. And it's really just Joshua and Eleazar, because Joshua took Moses' seat. So Joshua now king. But what's Caleb doing here? He's taking the Joshua position to be groomed up. All right? To begin to understand the ordering of the kingship. Okay. And you shall inquire of them, and they shall show you the process of judgment. So they're going to show you a process. They're not just going to render judgment.
Right, there's a process.
So they're teaching the process of judgment. Why? Should this matter arise again, it's not too weighty for you anymore. You can judge it yourself.
So, like, you're sitting here reading the law and giving us understanding.
This is a process of judgment. So again, this is, I call it splashing around in the kiddie pool. This is the first layer, the first level of the process of judgment. Judgment is not the rendering of a punishment. Okay? Judgment is not the rendering of a punishment. It's one of the mistakes people make. Judgment is the thoughts of the mind, of the heart, the reasoning process. Okay? Judgment is the anticipated outcome, and judgment is the actual outcome. You understand?
Say it again now. Judgment.
Judgment is the thoughts. Any thought that come to the mind or in your heart. So anything you think or feel. Right? Judgment is the reasoning. Okay? So you receive a thought and you begin to reason or meditate or think upon it. Judgment is also the anticipated, the hoped for outcome of an action. We'll be right back. So judgment is also the anticipated outcome, and judgment is the actual outcome.
That's why when he told us Jubilees 23, all judgment, and even when we read the other day here in Deuteronomy, it said in all judgment.
All judgment. It says all judgment because judgment have 4 pillars. And these are the 4 pillars of judgment. It begins with a thought or feeling, an emotion. So now you must reason with this, right? You must think about it and think about what is the anticipated outcome. So you begin to think about it. So you're thinking about this thing, and then you think about what you're going to get or receive by doing this thing. So you got a thought, now you're thinking about the thought, and you're thinking about the outcome. Now this is the anticipated. But judgment is also the actual outcome in doing it. So you thought about the thing, so you had a thought, you thought about it, you did it hoping for an outcome, and you hope the outcome would be good. And then there's the actual outcome, the 4 pillars of judgment. So these 4 pillars of judgment, this is why when the Most High starts, after telling you the basic 10 words in Exodus chapter 20 and 21, he goes, these are the judgments. I think it's 21 or 22. And he begins to tell you how to basically think about certain matters. If you start to think that way, repeating that in your mind, right? As a practice, just, you know what I'm saying? If a man take a sheep and he's caught, he got to give back 5. Right? Just a basic practice. This is one of the laws. I'm not quoting it verbatim, but it's something like that.
But you're constantly
Right?
going over.
Which is why you're reading it to keep it in the forefront of your mind of where to find it. But this is your thought process. With this being your thought process, you know not to go steal a sheep. You go buy one. Because in the time it takes you to steal it and you get caught, you still got to pay back 5. You could have worked and bought it, and it would have bred 5 for you in a shorter amount of time. So you'd have to work. You could steal and have to work for 6-7 years.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you steal, you could have had to work all of this time. Or, right? You could have worked for a year or two and started to build it up, and then you would have had it anyway. You would have had more and more abundantly in the same amount of time, because you start looking at time as 6 and 7 year windows. Okay, so now they're teaching you, they will show you the process of judgment. So the first thing they do is they perform it themselves. So it says show. I'm going to show you some of these small words. To show is to perform the process of judgment. Then you shall do, so they did it. Now you going to do it. Monkey see, monkey do. It's not do as I say, it's do as I do. I'm doing it this way, you do it this way. Everything I do is lawful, so that my son, if I see him doing it, it is permitted unto him. You see? Then you shall do according to the word of the custom of the law. So here we are now, and you're starting to learn what is a custom. So you're not coming in with the customs. You're coming in, and there's a process of learning the customs. It starts by hearing. You're hearing me teach you, and you're seeing me talk with my sister. This conversation don't end when the conversation goes off.
No, it doesn't.
She's not getting everything today. I say some things, and I have to wait 6 months in the process for her to grasp it. 3 months. I said this 6 months ago. You remember? Yes. Okay, what do you see now? Oh, how did you? Yes, this is the process of judgment. It's a longer conversation than you know. The conversation doesn't end, right? It doesn't end. It is a very long process of bringing you into an elevated place of thinking.
Yes.
And into a custom and culture of a lifestyle you have forgotten. I let her see the rule for wearing the hijab. She didn't tell you too much about how the people rejoiced when they saw her wearing it. Oh, you came back to your tradition. And they began to show them, listen, look, here's a picture of my sister. She's indigenous Bedouin. She's live over here. You look beautiful, just like my sister.
You look like my sister. You know you're Bedouin.
You're Bedouin. You know you Bedouin. You from here. And they'll tell you. But if you don't return to the custom by doing what I'm telling you, to be here, to get established, to get rooted in, you'll never get the redemption. The redemption is reserved for obedience, not for rebels. It is reserved for those who worship the service of the law, not for those who worship an image, an idea of salvation. That's the difference between me, because I'm take after my father. I don't worship the idea of the Most High's miracles. I get up and do the practical steps. He said, stand here. He said, do this. And I practiced this. And I did this on the mountain. And it worked for me on the mountain when I had to believe and do what the instructions said over the sheep to protect the sheep. Now the people are the sheep, and it's called for me to destroy or kill something bigger than me yet again. It's no different. There's a practicalness, but this is the understanding of a king, not the understanding of a wannabe who wants to claim the throne. I do when others stand around and watch. There's giants in the land, no problem. I'm going.
That's
The
right.
instructions
Says
said go.
go. Yeah.
Which didn't start with David. This mindset actually begins in Caleb.
Yes.
Caleb, who said, "What the heck is wrong with y'all? Get up, let's go.
Go. Mm-hmm.
We can hit him with the whoop whoop. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is."
Yeah.
All right. Moses said, "Don't go now. It's over." Well, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Moses says, it is, it is. Moses, the one the Most High put. This is the judgment for right now. That's the judgment. Now we going to wait. 40 years later. All right. Time to go. Time to go. Hey, Joshua, we going to get it this time.
It sure is.
And we go.
Yeah.
And they got it. You know, out of all the land that they took, because they took a lot of land, Joshua took everything except for one portion.
You think they're ready to hear this?
No. Joshua took everything except one portion. The portion of land he couldn't take, David took. Why? It's the kingship's portion. He couldn't take it. It's the king's portion. He couldn't take it. It was for Judah to take. Caleb didn't take it. Nobody could get it. It was for David, specifically for the kingship of the house of Judah. And that's who got that land portion. It's bordering on all the nations' portions in the capital city because it's in the capital city, which belongs to the king. And he has to share it as the Most High appointed it. But the rest of all the land, right? Judah goes all the way to the Nile River through the Sinai Peninsula. Judah goes all the way to the Nile River in the Sinai, through the Sinai Peninsula, and then all the way up to Mount Zion. But you don't, the king doesn't go over there. That's for the people.
King has his own portion.
The king has his own portion. He has his own portion. So Joshua couldn't take it. Nobody could take it. Only David could take it. Why could only David take it? It was appointed to him. The one appointed does the thing that's appointed to him. He accomplished it. It's about accomplishments. If you can't come out and build a nation, you're not appointed. You're not appointed. You want to stay in your idolatry and worship your idol, worship it. That's what the Most High said. Worship your idol. Call upon it in your day of trouble. You're not called. You're not appointed.
You know, as a witness and being here around you, one of the many things that I do see in regards of you, you never talk about or focus on your portion. You are literally driven by making sure the people get their portion. That says a lot. Now, just as we're sitting here talking about this and going through this.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something absolutely hilarious. You're going to laugh. Don't laugh.
Okay. I'll try not to.
Okay. As benevolent as that sounds, okay? I care, and I'm doing this for myself. You want to know why? Because as the law is written, I can't get my portion until they get theirs. So I have to fight for them to get theirs with all my heart and all my soul just to get mine.
Wow.
So I have a motivation. I'm 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 self-motivated,
But not selfish.
but not selfish. I have a motivation. There is a prize for me. It is magnificent. And I'm willing to work to the ends of the earth to receive that prize and that bonus.
But
Okay?
you're not selfish
I'm not
in
selfish.
doing it.
You can get, if you get what you want, I'm working for mine. Even if somebody wanted mine and wanted to work with me, I'd let them. You'd be like, "What? Why would you do that?" I said, "Because what's appointed is appointed.
Right, they can't change.
There's no way to change it. And the only thing that person will do is help me accomplish what I need to accomplish. And once they receive the portion that's appointed to them, watch them be satisfied with all good." So I'm not asking them to believe in a miracle, and neither am I believing in a miracle. The steps in the process are literal, real, and present right now. If they don't want to take the steps, I'm fine with that. Let's see what the Most High says about taking steps and walking processes out.
Wow.
Then you shall do, you will do. Then you will. Shall is will. Whenever you see shall, write will. Then you will do according to the word of the custom of the law that they will show you. Who's they? The high priest
And the judge.
and the judge, the king at that time, the sheikh, the rabbi sheikh, the chief of sheikhs. Okay? At the place that Yah will choose and observe to do whatsoever they teach you.
Wow. I see.
See?
I see.
So now when I talked and I opened up this class today, just talking about what's on my mind, you see what the Most High says? They have a specific fear. So if you ask this dumb question, what happens if we don't do it? Let's see what happens. Now, because you're supposed to ask, what are we to do?
Right.
And what is the first steps? What do we need to do in the process? And okay, what are all the steps? Now, what happens if we make a mistake, if we fail, if we miss a step? Okay? No problem. If you miss this step and this and this and this is that, let's get these steps done and move forward. So now there's no rebellion, right?
Right.
Okay. Watch this. And according to the word of the law that they will teach. So they must teach you from the law, this one with the details. Okay? That they will teach you, and the manner of judgment they pronounce. So the manner of thinking, right? Because you have a thought. They will tell you even, we're gonna do this. They will tell you how you're going to feel about it. It's going to be uncomfortable, but do it with joy and gladness because we're anticipating this result. Should an obstacle come, we will review the instructions and make an adjustment and receive the actual result that is promised.
Like you do with me.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. So, and the manner of judgment they pronounce, you shall do. You shall not turn aside from the sentence, right?
Yes.
The sentence. You know what a sentence is? It's the final statement of judgment of what is to be done. The final, from the sentence, they will show you to the right or to the left. So you say, Rabbi Sheikh, you making this up. Let me tell you something. I wasn't always in Jordan. Okay? In a matter of judgment, my teacher told me I had to follow these laws, and I followed them to the letter. And then I ended up having to come to Jordan. It's against my will. My teacher didn't see it happening. Nobody saw it coming. But obeying the instruction forced this. Then we had consulted the law and saw the Most High said the dwelling places of Aman. So the Aman is an initial dwelling place. What do we need dwelling places for? Because you have to come out of captivity. Some of you have to go to other places and countries and get your ass whooped to see that there's no other place for you before you get here. When you get here, you still have to be cleansed of all the filth that you've experienced to come into the customs and traditions. You have to leave what is outside behind. You have to get clean before you can come in to the congregation and do the work. If you get right into the land with this mindset, you will corrupt yourself and the land again. So you have to be cleansed, your mind and your heart dedicated to the work, received your teaching and your instruction to come in. It is a screening. It is a filter. Okay? So you don't, okay? So you don't. So you don't want to act with presumption, right? We're starting back at 11. According to the word of the law that they will teach you and the manner of judgment they pronounce, you shall do. You shall not turn aside from the sentence. They will show you to the right or the left. And the man who will act with presumption and not obey the judge or the priest, who standeth there to minister before Yah your law, that man shall be put to get to death. So shalt you put down the doer of evil from Israel. So what happens if we don't do it? Kill him. Kill him. Why? It says so. It's the instruction. And all the people will hear and be afraid and not do wickedly again. Now, once you get rid of the I don't want to do a person and the what happens if we don't do it person, you can move forward. So now those who come with us have a promise. 17 and 14, when you enter the land. So if you come with us and you do what we do, we buy the land, we establish the law, we begin to gather up, you're guaranteed to enter the land. We're leaving, we're going to the land. When you enter the land which Yah your law giveth you and possess it and dwell in it, okay? And you say, let us appoint the king over us, like all the nations about me. You shall inquire for instruction before Yah, and afterward appoint the king over you. See that? After. You don't appoint after you haven't taken the land. Now, this right here, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a Korok test. How you know this is a Korok test? Why? Because if you actually went into the land with one judge and a high priest, you actually have to be a fool to think that the Most High has moved away from the person that has brought you back in the land for you not to appoint him as high priest. The Most High is testing your heart to see if you agree with his decision or do you yet want another.
Which has been done.
Listen, you see? Because the king has to be anointed and appointed at a certain place. Okay? It's called Migdal Eder. I know exactly where it is. So I know exactly where to take you to do the appointing of the king. See, that's why I said it's a catch-22. But since you like voting so much and you like, this is to prove your allegiance to the king at the time you get there. So right now, I'm just Rabbi Sheikh. I'm just a judge. Okay? And the high priest with me. Don't worry about it. You meet him when you come. You got a lot of work to do. So you shall inquire for instructions before Yah, and afterward appoint the king over you. But it will not be lawful to set over you a foreign man who is not of your brethren. Now, why does the Most High have to say that? Because today, you guys have been electing foreigners and selecting foreigners over you from not of your brethren. Okay? And understand there will be others appointed at this time. Who are you talking about? There will be others. Because the king of Judah and the king of Israel is two different things. The king of Ephraim, the king of Manasseh, Asher, all the kings, right? Over a given tribal nation, this is the time of their appointment. So you'll be able to pick those. The king of Israel, you won't be able to pick. Don't do it. don't do it. Just don't. I'm trying to warn somebody. I know somebody's got an ambition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But over the house of Judah is one thing. Over the house of Israel, the nation as a whole, the congregation is another. You have no say in this department. However, the strong and lawful brothers who have been faithful, you've seen their work, they came out. These you can choose to be over your nations because every nation has to have an administration. What? Yeah, you have to have your own Sanhedrins. Then that within the nation, there's the chief Sanhedrin, but then there's other smaller ones for all the different, regions and areas. You don't have to travel all the way up from 4 hours away for a Sanhedrin court case. You know what I'm saying? There's smaller ones. The bigger ones, this is for bigger cases that you may have to travel because you need to come to a certain council.
You know, the framework of what we think our government as a whole is to be, it has to be cast down and rebuilt back up because we're using the ideas of the world for government to put with us, but it's not. Our way of government and kingship and rulership, all of that is completely different. So you're mixing and mingling from this.
Wait till they hear this. This is about to get good. I hope you all love it. because this is coming. So when you appoint, it will not be lawful to set over you a foreign man who is not of your brethren. Okay, so he must be a brother. He can't be a half brother. He can't be mixed. This brother has to be a brother from pure blood. Okay, first of all, this a brother. Okay, so if his mama white, he mama from a different people, not from the seed of Abraham, this one can't be a brother. Okay, you can't appoint him. You heard?
Yes.
Everybody understand? I need
Heard.
you to understand. You like an exotic looking person? That's fine. Your exotic looking babies will have no power in the kingdom. You will have no authority. All right? You can farm all you want and you can sell all you want. You will have no authority, no power. Okay? Here's the rules for all kings, all princes, all sheikhs, sultans. Yes, we have sultans. We'll get there. I'll tell you about it. We're sultans. Okay, whatever ruler or title of leadership you choose, judges, governors, all the same. Only let him not increase to him more than 2 horses. First rule, you cannot have more than 2 horses. Lest his princes ride upon them and become proud and neglect the words of the law. We don't even ride in horses no more. You will be. I promise you. I'm telling you, all this oil getting ready to come to an end. We're going to use it for while we got it, but the Most High is going to take these cars from us. You're only allowed 2 horses. End the story. Camels. Oh. I love camels. We're gonna have a whole. I'm gonna have a whole lot of those camels. I'm gonna be riding high. We ain't gonna be moving fast, but we going far. So lest your princes, your sons, become proud and neglect the words of the law and commit the sin of the captivity of Mitzrayim. So the sin of the captivity of Mitzrayim is oppression and neglecting the words of the law. For Yah hath told you, by that way you shall return no more. So we will no longer, never use any Babylonian systems.
Which is oppression.
I told you the same thing. It's okay. Neither shall he multiply to him wives above 18. See, there's a number there.
Yes.
So you can only have 18 wives. That's the end. You're a king, that is the end. 18 wives. David had, first of all, you need to understand the difference between a wife and a redeemer case. They're 2 different things. What? While a redeemer case is like unto a wife, she is not considered your wife. Your wife is a woman you have taken in her virginity. She has only known you. She has not known another man. What do you mean known? What are you talking about? She has not had sexual relations with another man. So she only knows sex with you. That's right. You get 18 of the virgin kind. Because redeemer cases are allowed to pick from whomever. That's the woman's choice. And the man has to accept her after some reasoning is done. She must be brought before 5 sages. There must be a judgment made. We have to see that her intentions are genuine before the man can lay claim to her.
So my previous experiences were totally unlawful.
So you have to do it this way because if this woman is just, well, you want to be with this man just for money or blah, 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 blah. Okay, how many men she's asked, 2 or 3 guys, all of that is out the question. Okay? There's an order to things. So although she have the right, there is a process and a custom to it. So he may not multiply to him wives above 18, lest they pervert his heart, nor shall he increase to him silver or gold. So you cannot now conduct business to the people for profit. How are we going to live? Notice I said you cannot conduct business to the people that's under us for profit. That's the way of Mitzrayim. So anyone that is selected or appointed a prince or a king in that time will work with me and we will deal in international matters. The wealth of the nations will be divided from us. You saw that?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So the international trade is not private. The international trade is a kingdom matter. The citizens can conduct business among themselves and among the people as they see fit. However, the international trade matters belong to us princes, and we will all be a part of the national administration. Now we're getting into national administration. They starting to put it together, right? This is why you can't come in by faction or by force. It says to ask the Most High, to pray about it. Why? Because all the men that are coming must be upright, faithful in the law. They must have shown merit. How did they show merit? They gave their money in the beginning to begin initially and work to build it, thereby meriting a good name for the people to, again, rejoice in their appointing to their positions of leadership. You see how that works?
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
They didn't see that.
No, they didn't.
See? This way, a man cannot bribe his way to become a king. Yeah, vote for me. No, there's no vote. There's no vote. We discussing. It's a discussion. I did this before. You don't know. You don't know about it. Okay? So when we wanted to appoint a mayor over our city, the heads of the city, we came in and discussed with all the ones who wanted the position, and we began to interview them to see if they were in the best interest of the whole. Because some people want a position to be of best interest for them, their people, and their families. But to be in leadership, you have to have the best interest of the whole that is with you. Every one of them must receive. Okay? This way you don't have corruption because he's lawful, he's upright, he's looking out for the whole. And so it's a difference. So you have to know what this custom is. So, lest they pervert his heart, he said, he cannot increase to him silver or gold. So now you know about how we're going to gain our wealth. It'll be from international matters, dealing with outside groups, but not from within. We don't profit. We don't eat or consume our people. They're not taxed. There's no tax. Our people, they have a tithe. It goes to the priesthood, but we don't have a tax. There's no tax. There's no land tax. No tax. It's usury. They have to give according to the law, and that's it. However, in international matters, business, oh no, no. This is my money. Oh, you need a loan for your government, for your banking system, this, fine, compounding interest. I can put it here. I cannot put it in my people and in my country to make me rich. Because I have, my power is till I die. It's here. It don't go nowhere. And that's the same for the other princes. They don't go nowhere. Their households remain. So they're picked because of merit. So he cannot multiply silver and gold lest his heart be greatly lifted up. Big me, little you poor, you down, whatever. And he rebelled against the Allah of the heavens, the God of the heavens. Okay. And it shall be that if he be steadfast, what's that word, steadfast?
I was getting ready to say, what does that mean?
Resolutely, dutiful, firm, and unwavering, steadfast loyalty. In the commandments of the law, he shall sit upon the throne of his kingdom in security. So to sit upon the throne, how many kings do we have? A bajillion. Every man that have a land possession is the king over it. But he must keep the law, and there's levels to the kingship. So all of them are princes. However, there is an order. Captain of 10, captain of 50, captain of 100, captain of 1,000, captain of 10,000s. Okay? And captain of a myriad, a million, which is 10,000s. All right? And let the elders, so the elders that are with him, right? They approve him. The elders write for him the sections, the parashah of this law in a book before the priest of the tribe of Levi. So the elders are the scribes and the priest, and they write the sections of the law. So they begin to divide the law into its books, its ordinances, its proper sections, the new sentences, right? He is now being recorded. So there's another book of Chronicles of who was appointed, how they got appointed, why they was appointed, their journeyings. It's the same. And let it be at his side. So now this book has to be in his hand and with him all the time. And he shall read it all the days of his life. He don't have time to read nothing else. No. You have only the time to read the law, the prophets, That's it. The books are separated and divided into their proper sections, which means there's a chronicling of kings and the acts of the kings. There is also the story, the account of the witnesses. Who are the witnesses? The elders.
There's
And then you have also the Levites. They're present with this law and keeping everything worded and written in the same way. We'll be back. All right. So the law have to be by his side and he have to read it every day. You read the law every day, every single day. You see me up here, right? This is me reading and me explaining and judging judgment in the mornings when it's commanded to judge. And he shall read it all the days of his life. The reason being, right? So why is he reading it every day? That he may learn to fear Yah, his Allah, to keep all the words of this law and all these statutes to perform them. So now he has to read it every day. He has to reassure himself every day. He has to watch his steps every day. He has to perform it every day. It is a test daily. Now that he's king, people always want to come and give you something. Now you have to turn it down. Then the Most High will tell you, well, ask the people for this thing to do this thing for the people. You get the word, you have to pass it down. We all have to do this. The sentences come down from the other judges. Okay, now I got to do this. But the people don't want to do this. But you have to tell them anyway. Then sometimes your friend come in and he's done something, that which is not lawful and right to do, and you got to judge him. This is how it goes. But you have to do this, that his heart may not be arrogant towards his brethren, nor arrogant. Let's look at that word. Hold on.
yes, sir.
Having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. That happens a lot. They call it big-headedness, right?
Yes.
Now, the one thing is reading the law, you're going to learn to just stay down. Okay? The Most High is not exalting you. He's exalts himself. He's the only one, high and lifted up. You are just here to serve. And what happens is, and I've seen it, brothers come in and they get their little robes, they get their crowns and their mantles and their turbans, and brothers get big-headed and start walking around yelling, I'm this, I'm the priest, I'm a sheikh too, right? I'm a prince. Yeah, sounds good. That's arrogant. You can see right away this person is not reading the law and walking in it to perform it daily. You see what I'm saying? You want somebody to bow down to you, and the law is for your enforcement in criminal cases, in criminal conduct. The law is not here to make your brother worship you. It's not for that, your brother or your sister. You're here to elevate them,
Not to oppress them.
not to oppress them, to push them down so you can come up. Your job is to push them up. Okay? But if I push them up and I remain, yes, you remain down. This will hide you. This will give you freedom. This will give you abilities to what? To search out the truth, that you don't be deceived. If I showed up in princely garments, right? someplace, you cannot tell who is genuine and who is, who's evil. You can't tell because they all will appear and present themselves as good. However, if you can hide amongst the humble, then the poor and the down, then the people will know this man, he really is the king. You gotta listen. If you see a man come in here, he comes in here often. He gets these things. Just give it to him. Don't talk, don't say nothing. If he leave a coin there, just thank him. But make sure he gets this exactly. You know that person is a sheikh. That's a man of great power. But he's common among the people. His power and authority does not have anything to do with oppressing his people that he has to be a big shot. Anytime he needs to do the princely thing among the princes,
He'll do it.
he does it. So when the feast days come and I have to be in my kingly garments, I got them. I don't need them on the 9th day of the 2nd month and ain't nothing going on. I need to be in the field leading my men, watching over things, making sure things working smooth, because people like to be with a good work supervisor that know how to come in and work with them and show them how stuff get done to get stuff done quicker. And then everybody get their time off who understand their breaks. He's not a slave driver. Oh, I'm checking the numbers for profitability.
No plantation owner.
No plantation owners. Nor decline from the precepts to the right or the left. And that his days may be prolonged over his kingdom, his life. His and his sons among Israel. So again, once you become up here, you can't go back down. You become a king here, you become a prince here, it is permanent. However, should you decide that you want to make a profit in gold and oppress the people and make unlawful decisions, it's all right. You and your sons will no longer preside over your kingdom that was given to you by the word of the Most High. It's given to you for your merit, for your service. You will lose it. So you either keep it forever or you lose it forever. You have a choice. You see that?
Yes, I do, sir.
Well, that's our time for today. I hope I have discouraged more of you from coming with your wicked ways because you don't want to pay the price, which is the only way we're going to get into this kingdom. I have to make sure I discourage you from coming, to make sure you go through the fire. And then when you come in, you know that it is the Most High and that you have no other choice. Then it will appear good in your eyes to keep the law. Then that's when I want you. I don't want you not a minute before that moment.
You know, sitting here listening to you say this, that was pretty much my experience because I was over here already and I had to go through a fire. I had to see my wickedness, face my wickedness, and let go of my wickedness. And in that process, here you came. And now I'm here learning and doing all I can to keep the law as you are teaching it. So this is something I'm
There's a
literally living
lesson.
out.
There's a lesson every day.
Yes, it is.
There's a lesson when you're doing, a lesson when you're not doing. There's a lesson for what you do with your free time. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lesson for what you do in secret and private chambers. There's always a lesson because there is a law that governs you every minute of the day. Why? Because the children of Israel, the seed of Jacob, you're not going through this process for no reason. It's because you're being groomed to become like the angels of the heavens on earth. You see that? You're being groomed. So until you can fall in rank and file, and until you can obey the law and instructions as I'm teaching them, as I have had to submit to them, then you will not be partaking in any of the promises because the promises are for the angels of the earth, the seed of Jacob, who walk in the law in this way, in the way that I am showing you. This is not a show. This is not a entertaining. I know it ain't entertainment.
And
I'm
this
not an entertainer.
and this is not something that we go over before we record. No, this is
I just wake
happening.
up. I wake up. I
Yeah.
set up these two little chairs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I just start talking.
Mm-hmm.
I open the book and pick up from where we read and go on to the next chapter. That's it. She don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just talk about the things I be thinking about and then reading it. But I think and meditate on the Lord day and night. So the things that I think about are lawful, which is why I'm showing you a lawful process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showing you lawful reason, and this is the sentence. So when I'm telling you that not following me, you will be killed, this time you will be killed by the hand of the Most High. Once you are in my hand and in my care, we will judge according to this law, and your life is yours to maintain and uphold by the law, through the law.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yes, sir.
Because at that time, it's my job to kill you for not keeping it. Now, I'm not trying to get you out here to make your problems and your wicked ways my problems to deal with at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to come. I'm not trying to make it sound appetizing. I want you to understand what this law really is because I'm subject to it and I always have been. You come out here, yeah. What happens if we don't do it? We're going to bury you. We on private property.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to dig a hole. We're going to do the work and I'm going to bury you right here.
Mm-hmm.
Finished. I have to follow the instructions. I'm bound by the instructions to keep it that I may sit in security on my throne.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come get me off my throne. Ain't no election for it. I'm already sitting on mine. What happened? I went through this process already.
Mm-hmm.
Me doing it with you is ceremonial for me at this point because it's the
Right.
second time. The first time I did it, it was I got the throne. Me doing it with you, this is for you to pick your leaders, not about my seat.
Mm-hmm.
My seat done. It's just ceremonial.
Mm-hmm.
And it will happen ceremonially from time to time because every time the family grows, it has to split when it gets so big. So now
Right.
this new family, one family stays with the old head and this one gets a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're allowed to pick. So when you talk about, so the tribe of Tekoa, There's a king of Tekoa, but you don't know where Tekoa comes from. Oh, what about Jabez? What happened? Well, he's originally from the original family branch. Then the family got so big, they needed to move out and start a new town, a new country. It's not a new country, but it's in the countryside.
Right.
Okay, but they needed to start a new city. So they take a group and they split off. He had everything he needed in this. And they say, make Jabez the leader because the Most High was prospering him and he was strong in the law. Now you have this family that comes out. And you'd be like, where did this come from? There's no lineage of him. There is. He was regular. The captain of 10 have 10 regular men. They not accounted for. It's just sheep. So from the sheep come the kings. Did you hear what I said?
I did.
From the sheep
Comes the
kings. Okay? You start out as sheep. You come in, you work hard, you train, you study, you fulfill all the requirements. When it grows and it's time for expansion, the one that was meritorious and faithful here and leading the rest of the sheep start to come up the ranks in faithfulness. He follows and abides by the law and adheres to the instructions vehemently, adamantly. From him, he now is entitled to a crown. He must be crowned. When is he crowned? At the expansion. Because this is established. It's here. This must move. Now this one become king. And it does the same thing. It grows and multiplies. So the be fruitful and multiply works because it allows new kings to pop up because we get to expand and take over the fullness of the land.
So multiplication comes through the land.
No land,
no multiplication.
No multiplication. So, and this is the thing, if you see me right now, like I'm really passionate about, because I'm ready to crown people. There's no only one in our society. There is one at the top, but the law that I abide by is the same law that the one of the captain of 10 abide by. And he can grow, and his city can be larger than mine. Just because mine is capital city, it's capital city by appointment. It may not be the largest city. The largest city can be because of this person's gifting and their ability and where it's situated. You're going to have geographical restrictions. But if something is appointed something by the Most High, that's what it is appointed. So there's always room. It's not about how rich you are. You can be as rich as you like. One step at a time, one day at a time, because I feel like I'm talking too much. I don't want to talk you into being princes. I really don't. One.